curly hair.
Okay. All right, everybody ready? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Emergency Operations Center for our weekly press conference here. Our focus continues to be these weeks on working with Metro Council to pass an exciting and forward-looking budget to move our city forward, to make Louisville safer, stronger, and healthier. And part of that is funding our highest priority, improving public safety. Improving public safety is the foundation for everything else that we do at Louisville Metro government. Every person in Louisville should be safe and feel safe in every neighborhood of our community. And we're seeing incredibly positive momentum towards a safer and stronger Louisville. This year alone, compared to last year, shootings and homicides are both down approximately 30% compared to last year. Programs like our Crisis Call Deflection Program have been an amazing success that, along with the work LMPD and others are doing, are contributing towards this positive trend. We're collaborating with local, state, and federal partners to crack down on drug trafficking, on copper wire theft, to go after the most violent crime offenders in our community. And no matter what goes on outside of Louisville Metro government, we've been moving forward with needed reforms and improvement at LMPD. Chief Humphrey and his team are leading that effort every day, improving their training, improving the policies, the culture, the recruiting, and the transparency are all the focus of Chief Humphrey and the executive team at LMPD. But our progress in all of these areas needs to continue. We need to continue to do even more, to continue these positive trends, accelerate them, and make our city even safer. Our goal is to make LMPD the most trusted, transparent, and best trained police department in the entire country. And to continue our progress, we need to double down on these things that are now working and find new ways to continue to improve. And that's exactly what we're proposing to do in my proposed budget to the Metro Council. This means investing in larger LMPD recruiting classes to help them continue to add more law enforcement professionals that we need in Louisville. New and updated equipment like license plate readers and more cameras around the city to help prevent crime from happening in the first place and to apprehend those individuals who have committed crimes. And the new emergency drone response program that I highlighted last week will support the work of all of our first responders, LMPD, the fire department, and more. We want LMPD to be the police department that every prospective officer in this region wants to be a part of. Our Summit Wellness Center is the envy of police departments and first responders nationwide. They're coming to look at this facility week after week. The national media has been focusing on this innovative program and facility that we have. We want to keep it that way and strengthen it. And we want to continue to invest in a world-class LMPD headquarters where more of LMPD officers and colleagues can be together to work together in one unified location. And we want that to happen, and it will happen, right down the street from where we are in downtown Louisville. We're excited that the chief and others on his team are going to be moving in by the end of this summer to the first phase of work on the LMPD headquarters. And we need to continue to make investments in that building to continue that progress. To speak more about that project and about the investments that we're proposing to make in LMPD in our proposed budget to Louisville Metro Council, let me welcome Chief Paul Humphrey. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And our job as leadership is to invest in people who take care of people. We don't do the direct work, so we have to support the men and women of LMPD and all of the other public safety entities in metro government to be able to do that work and do it well. So when we're talking about that, that requires investment, that requires budget, that requires foresight into what is the next innovation of how we can support doing this job to the best of our ability. So when you think about something like the Summit Wellness Center, if you look in 2023, we had about 2,700 missed days of work due to work-related injuries or illness. In 24, that went down to just over 700. When we were talking about a shortage of manpower, to return almost 2,000 work days to the street, that is very, very important. When you look at the ability of officers to understand that their workplace cares about them, that they are investing in them, making sure that they are healthy physically and mentally, making sure that they have the tools and the support to do their job really, really well, it becomes a place that people want to be. You think about our headquarters. Prior to moving out of 633 West Jefferson, I believe that building was condemned for probably more than a decade. It was a horrible environment to work in. Since then, there's been a hodgepodge of places that we've worked, not creating a cohesive culture, not creating an area or a space that we can own and be proud of. The ability to move into the new police headquarters is not just about putting somewhere between 400 and 600 employees in the same space. It's about unifying that culture and having that ability to interact and lead smoothly within our organization. Those things, as well as the investments in things like technology, as the mayor said, lead to our ability to attract employees. We know that the biggest attractor of an employee are the current employees. So to be able to show the officers and the professional staff of LMPD that this city and this department cares about them, cares about their success, is extremely important to getting that next recruit class in. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to make some announcements about one of our larger recruit classes that we've had in years in the next coming days. So very excited about the investments that we've already made and the investments that we continue to make and the impact that it will have on LMPD and the city going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. I should also add that this is, in addition to all of the reasons that the Chief just described for this new headquarters, it was also a recommendation from the United States Department of Justice as well. It is one of the many improvements that we are making to LMPD, where we are not waiting for anything to happen at the federal level. We are taking action here locally. Bringing our officers together, bringing our executive team together in a unified downtown headquarters is one of those actions and improvements that we have been taking. And we're excited for the Chief and his team to have their new offices later this summer. Beyond policing, there's so much more that we do to help people's safety, to improve their quality of life across our city. And in my budget, we have another innovative area of proposed spending, a new investment. A new program to help, just like the crisis deflection program helps individuals that are helping individuals that have mental health crises in need when they call 911. We have a new program that we think is going to help the entire city, the entire county, the entire EMS system. We're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to improve our services that we provide to the citizens of Louisville. And one example is right here at the Emergency Operations Center, just behind this wall, in the 911 call center, where our amazing dispatchers work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. In my budget, I'm proposing to add new funding for medical professionals to be part of the 911 MetroSafe team. And for medical calls that come in, they will help individuals determine the appropriate level of care, ranging from self-care to a primary care visit, urgent care, or even directing an individual to the emergency department if needed. By having the opportunity to have somebody who's calling in need talk to a medical professional when it's not an urgent need for an ambulance, they can help resolve more calls over the phone or even through video one day to free up our ambulances to focus on those emergency runs that they most need to make and prioritize. To talk a little bit more about this proposed program, I'd like to welcome up our Deputy Director of Emergency Services, Kelly Jones. Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. Just to follow up a little bit on what the mayor had to say about our program, EMS just in the last 24 months alone has taken about 300,000 phone calls. That's a whole lot of phone calls, putting a strain on our entire medical system. We've looked around the country at places like Jacksonville, Austin, Vegas, DC, and Fort Worth. All those cities have some form of a diversion program for medical calls, and we're still trying to decide exactly what that would look like for us, but we believe it would be very important. Our job is to always be finding remedies to improve the way we deliver our services. It includes finding ways to take pressure off of ambulances, off of EMS, off of emergency rooms around our county, because sometimes those services are just not needed for a particular type run. As for instance, sometimes we'll have someone call, yes, they did sprain their ankle, but do we want to tie up an ambulance for that run to take someone to a medical facility? Do we want those folks to incur expenses for simply getting that transport? Do we want to put that on an ER facility? I think a lot of times we don't, and we'd be better served if we could say, can you get a friend? Can you get a family member? Can you get someone else to help you take care of this? And that's one of the goals. The triage program is going to aim to improve the call handling by having medical professionals assess those calls as they come in. I think it's still up in the air for us is exactly who. It could be physician's assistants. It could be nurses. It could be paramedics. We're trying to decide exactly who we would want in the 911 center taking those calls, and it may start out looking a little different than it ends up looking for us, but we just haven't got solid on exactly how, but we know that it is a much needed improvement and will help. Again, there are just urgent calls that need to be made, and when you think of the word emergency medical services, it should be exactly that. It should be an emergency. When you see ambulances, they should be delivering emergency medicine that's needed at the proper time. Again, it'll help our ambulance demand a lot of times, and I'd like to shout out to those folks at EMS for the hard work and the long hours they put in every day of the year, along with our dispatchers. Both of those groups sometimes I don't think get the credit they deserve from the public just because they're not seen as much. But we believe overall that it'll offer us better patient care, less strain on our healthcare system, and I think it'll be innovative, and Louisville will be a leader in one of these type programs, and we're glad that the mayor's given us the opportunity, and we hope that that's something that makes it in the budget. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Kelly. I'd now like to welcome 3 young men who have undertaken really some heroic work in the public safety area as well, and recognize them. Let me introduce you to Jacob Cruz, Abraham Cruz, and Kene Valdez. Last month, a car ended up in the water in the Ohio River near the Greenwood boat ramp. Arriving first responders made it to the scene just a few minutes after the call came in. But these 3 who were fishing nearby had already jumped into action. They jumped into the river, swam to the vehicle, and helped get the driver out of their car. They also helped secure a rope to the vehicle and a nearby tree to keep it from floating away, all with the help of additional bystanders. These 3 young men did not hesitate to act. They didn't hesitate to help a person in need. They saved a life. So on behalf of the city of Louisville, I want to recognize each of you with a Distinguished Citizen Proclamation to thank you for all of the work that you do. So Abraham, would you like to say a few words, and then we'll give you all the props, please.
Well, first I gotta say thank you so much for everything and all the attention we've got, because we really didn't think it was gonna be this big, and we are really, really thankful for everything that's been going on since it happened. And I'm glad to meet you and glad to have everyone here giving us this attention, because once again, we really didn't think it was going to be this big. and if we ever, if ever happens again, we would do it again. But for the most.
That's nice. Thank you so much. Here, guys, I'm going to be front. Thank you. Jacob. Can I? Here, scoot over one bit. We'll get Kelly and Chief to join us in the picture. All right, come on in, Chief. Thank you guys very much. Up. Thank you all so much. Thank you all very much. And when the time comes, I know you're still young, but when the time comes, guys, when you're looking for a career, you've shown us what you can do. Please consider one of our amazing Louisville first responding teams. Police, fire, EMS, dispatchers, we'd all be lucky to have you, and you all will be an inspiration, we hope, to other young folks around the entire city who we hope also join you in your path. Thank you all very much. And finally, to end on a fun note before we open it up for questions, one more exciting announcement to talk about as we approach Memorial Day weekend here at the end of the month. Our local Louisville favorite, the Mayor's Hike, Bike, and Paddle, is back this Memorial Day. After taking a break last year because of a conflicting waterfront concert that we had down at the waterfront, it is back on Memorial Day. So please come out and join us on Monday, May 26th at the Tough Mutt Great Lawn for the fun, free event that we're having. It gives everyone an opportunity. This is a non-competitive, family fun event that my family and I have enjoyed for years, long before I was mayor. Whether you like to ride a bike, if you like to walk along the river, or to have the unique opportunity to paddle in the Ohio River, this is the event for you on Memorial Day. The event begins at 8 a.m., and the hike, bike, and paddle all begin at 10 a.m., and there are lots of events and festivities and activities to do between 8 and 10 a.m., but the hiking, the biking, and the paddling begins at 10 a.m. on Memorial Day, Monday, May 26th. We're going to be giving out free T-shirts to the first 2,000 people who join us. Last year, they went very quick. So if you're interested in a T-shirt, come a little bit early. We're very excited to have this, what is now becoming a really well-regarded annual event in our community on Memorial Day. And to get more information on all the routes and any other thing else, you can visit our website at louisvilleky.gov/HBP for hike, bike, and paddle. I hope to see thousands of people around the community out there on Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day on Monday, May 26th for the Mayor's Hike, Bike, and Paddle. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I'm happy to take any questions from members of the media, as are the Chief and Kelly about the programs that we spoke about.
Mayor,
Yes.
actually, about the road project, just put comment on the goal for that, while it's, waterfront area.
The new River Road project that's starting construction on recently. Yeah, I'm very excited. You know, improving River Road is incredibly important for our community in many different ways. And we have recently just started construction on the area between 2nd and 7th Street, really with a focus on improving safety, improving the lighting in that area that's underneath I-64, improving the connectivity to the river. So we're going to have new lights. We're going to expand the pedestrian access right along the river there to connect Waterfront Park in the east with Waterfront Park in the west. That part is going to be critically important to the Belvedere project that we're planning right now above that as well. We'll also make it safer for vehicles as well, this plan. So it's all about lighting, it's all about safety for vehicles and pedestrians and bicyclists, and connecting as much as we can back to the river. I'm excited that it's finally underway. We've really been working hard to get these projects that our community has been talking about for years, in some cases a decade or more, to make sure these projects actually happen, and this is one example of that happening. Thanks.
Mayor, how much are you proposing to spend on this medical triage program?
On the medical triage program, 600,000. Okay, I lost my brain. Yeah, $600,000 is the proposed annual expense to hire additional medical professionals who will sit in the MetroSafe dispatch area.
And you know how many, you said it's earlier, how many?
We want the budget to pass first, and then we've got different scenarios, assuming that, and, based on their level of medical training will impact, obviously, the amount of their salary and how many that we have. So we'll get that information to you once we have that following the budget. But we know we can get off to a great start. With the crisis deflection program, we started small and we expanded that. We're working on all those things right now.
Has there ever been like a shortage of ambulances, that have led to issues or that haven't happened, but you want to prevent that from happening, or?
We need more EMTs as well. And so we are actively working, just as we're working to increase the LMPD recruiting classes, so too are we working on recruiting more paramedics to join EMS as well. And the way that the system in Louisville, just as a brief reminder, is operated is we have Louisville EMS, and then there are suburban EMS districts as well that are often paired with the fire departments that have different home areas of responsibility, but we all help out. And so this is going to be a city, county-wide initiative to help with everybody reduce the load on everyone's systems.
Is the headquarters building on schedule and on budget?
It is right now. So right now, the headquarters building, we're scheduled to have the chief and his team move in by the end of the summer, I would say. But that's just for the first phase. So there's probably 2 other phases as well. I've proposed some funding, approximately $9 million, I believe, in this capital budget to do the second phase of that project. It will probably require 1 more phase as well.
Just speaking to the Memorial Day event, obviously lost thunder, and that was with weather, unfortunately. So do you think this is an event that, bringing back, people can look forward to as a way to,
Yeah.
use the waterfront again?
Well, Kelly tells me it's going to be perfectly sunny on Memorial Day, so it's going to be great weather. Obviously, we can't control the weather, but we are doing all that we can to continue to encourage community events following the amazing Kentucky Derby Festival and Derby 151 that we had. This event I'm really excited for. In my proposed budget, there's also some funding to really enhance the 4th of July celebration along the riverfront as well. It certainly will not be thunder over Louisville, but last year we had an amazing community celebration on July 4th that we want to continue and expand. So we're looking for other ways to continue to support important community events. And we're getting ready at the end of next week to open the amazing new world-class Algonquin pool in the Algonquin Park in the Algonquin neighborhood. And that's another great community facility that hopefully once kids are out of school after Memorial Day, they too can enjoy for the first time in generations. It is going to be the best public pool in the entire city. Well, not even in the city, in the entire state, I would say.
You had the Jack Harlow Music Festival last year on Memorial Day, Camps Hike, Bike, and Paddle, or I think. Do you expect to have this on Memorial Day moving forward, or just past this year,
Yeah, the question was about, do we expect to have hike, bike, and paddle just on Memorial Day moving forward? That is the current intention, is for hike, bike, and paddle to be an annual Memorial Day event. We also have World Fest that happens downtown right now on the Belvedere. We'll need a new home during construction, but it will remain downtown over Labor Day weekend. And so our intention moving forward is to have hike, bike, and paddle every Memorial Day, and for us to have World Fest over Labor Day weekend.
Question for Chief after the Tasha White case on Friday. Have you guys considered revisiting any of your policies for missing persons after that on Friday?
So the question was whether or not we've reconsidered any of our policies related to missing persons after the Tasha White case. And I can say we sat down as an executive staff with our legal team and reviewed our policy, and we put that out to you all. And we feel pretty comfortable with our policy the way that it is. It complies with the law, and there's a lot more information that will come out about that case that will provide more clarity when we're able to give it. So.
Question for the mayor. The city has named a new park ranger program. What data did the city use to justify the need for a park ranger program, and what would we see with this office?
Yeah. The question was about the new park ranger program. I'm incredibly excited about the new park ranger program. This was in last year's budget, was a new initiative that we launched to, again, pilot it and to start small with a small team, starting with the director of the park rangers and then to grow from there. I really grew out of community feedback and hearing from community members about the need to want to enjoy all aspects of our public parks and to ensure that they're safe welcoming, inviting, and clean places to go. And so the Park Ranger program is really designed to enhance safety in all of our parks and to improve that safety and accessibility for all members, to ensure that people are using our parks for the right reason, and also to be there to support them, to help, just like the ambassadors in downtown Louisville are there to help provide hospitality and provide information and to enhance the experience of visitors to our downtown. So too will these park rangers have great knowledge about all of the amenities of our parks, lots of information about the parks to help our users in the Louisville Metro Park system enjoy their time in a park. But we want every one of our parks to be safe and to feel safe, and park rangers are part of that solution. Just as we've added more lighting to our parks, we've added more cameras to our parks, we're adding free Wi-Fi to our parks. All of these are to enhance the quality of our parks and to ensure they're safe and accessible for everyone in our community.
And a question for Chief Humphrey, same kind of subject. Does LPD need a new police force in town, or you guys, how are you guys feeling about that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Does LPD need a new police force in town, or how are you guys feeling about the Park Ranger program?
I'm excited about the Park Ranger program. I mean, I'm never going to turn down help. So any capacity that we can get more assets to aid with public safety, we're going to support that 100%.
For the mayor, there was a report last week about a possible $14 million budget shortfall and the possibility of layoffs. Is that something you all are considering as you go through the budget process?
The question was that last week there was a report of a possible shortfall and possible layoffs. There was no news last week. In my budget speech, when I presented my budget to the Louisville Metro Council, I proudly talked about the fact that this year we are projected to have a nearly $50 million surplus for Louisville Metro government. At the same time, a lot of that is because of one-time revenue sources. So for example, in the 10 years before I was mayor, 10 years cumulatively, the city earned several $1 million in what's called interest income, in the cash that they have and how it's invested. In the 2 years since I've been mayor, we've earned over $40 million in interest income. That's $40 million of one-time earnings that we can invest in our parks, in public safety, in our libraries, in our emergency response, in our fire department, and the list goes on and on and on. If you look at an operating perspective, so how many annual revenues you take in, excluding those one-time expenses, we still have an operating deficit. That has been there long before I was mayor. And my goal as mayor is to get our cities into an operating surplus perspective so that year over year, we don't have to rely on one-time new sources of revenue to be in a stronger financial position when my term as mayor concludes than when it began. And so each year, just as I have as mayor, I've looked to eliminate what I call the least necessary spending of Metro government. In an organization this large, there are certainly areas of our government that no longer support our biggest priorities that we're working on every single day, that we're talking about every day. And so there are many ways to eliminate our least necessary spending. It could be third-party contracts. It can be eliminating funded vacancies. And there also might be some positions in Metro government that no longer further the priorities or that we can operate in a more efficient way. So this is not news. I spoke about this in my budget speech. We did a very similar approach last year, and we will continue to do this as long as I'm mayor, to have the most efficient and effective government that provides services to our residents at the highest level.
Another question for Chief regarding the Tasha White case. Family, after you all released a statement on Friday, it still felt kind of frustrated and kind of like more wasn't done, quick enough. What's your response to the family in that regard?
I feel really badly for any family that's lost a loved one, regardless of the circumstances. We operate it based on the information that we were provided by various sources, including the family. And from what I can tell at this point, the information that we provided was acted on appropriately. Had we had information that was discovered after the fact, that may have changed things, but we can't act on things that we haven't been told or been made aware of by other parties. We exhausted the extent of what we could legally do. I know there might be some misunderstanding about, well, why didn't we search her house? Why didn't we track her phone? She was an adult. If my sister calls you and says that I'm missing, I still have rights. You can't just get a search warrant for my phone or my house because my sister says I'm missing. And so that was the circumstance we were in. We were not given any information that would allow us legally to be any more intrusive into her rights at that point.
So is it like, you all said in your statement, there wasn't really a sign of struggle outside the home, did that kind of play into the fact of we can't go inside the house because we don't see it, you know?
Correct. So there was no information that was provided by those who reported, and then there was no physical signs that there were any type of struggle or any imminent danger to her at that moment that we could have acted on and gone to a judge and said, hey, we think we need to take this next further step.
And what's your response to the family that race may have played a role in this?
What's that?
What's your response to the family that they were saying that race potentially played a role in this?
As far as race playing a role in this, no, it didn't. So.
Thank you all very much.